welcome to another version of Chip Off the Old Rock here on WWFM 89.1 HD2 Trenton, WWNJ 91.1 HD2 Toms River, and at WWCJ in Cape May, New Jersey. As always, we're streaming online at jazzon2.org. I am your host, Danny Coleman, and over the next 2 hours, I will bring you two very interesting people from the entertainment, arts, or music worlds, literary worlds, and beyond. Tonight, our guests are the Gretchen Emery Band's Ken Windle and Gretchen Emery herself, along with their producer, Derek Chafin. We did a live interview from Chester Springs, Pennsylvania, Derek's recording studio, BarnSound. And then in hour two, I have the Jersey Shore Jazz and Blues Foundation's Christine Clark Zemla. She's going to talk about the Clarksdale, Mississippi connection, an upcoming event at Monmouth University, the foundation, and more. So stay tuned for Chip Off the Old Rock, which begins now. As promised, here they are, Kenny Windle and Gretchen Emery of the Gretchen Emery Band. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hey, Danny. We're good.
And it should be noted that we are here with your producer, Derek, at BarnStudios, or BarnSound Studios, right? BarnSound.
Yeah.
BarnSound, yeah.
In Chester Springs?
Chester Springs, PA. Yeah,
Chester
you got
Springs, Pennsylvania. I'm from Jersey, as we all know. You guys traveled from Delaware. And so we kind of met in the semi-middle,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it is fantastic to see both of you, and I want to thank Derek for allowing me and us to set up here in the studio.
Well, we paid him a whole lot ahead of time, so
is that what it was?
it worked out.
Oh,
you know.
God. I owe you money.
Gave him a little.
I
Nah.
owe you money.
Yeah, the reason we come here is for the background vocals from the chickens and the.
Yeah, tell us. Well, Derek's going to join us in a little bit, and we'll
Yeah.
let him tell us about this place. But the reason we are here is because you're a blues band, a very good blues, rock, pop, even slightly band. You're incredibly talented. You're in the process of recording. Is it an EP or full length?
Full
here?
length.
Full length
Yes.
album here.
Yes.
And you've got some really big stuff going on at Muscle Shoals
Yeah.
Studios down in Alabama. So, from the start, okay, give us a little bit of background about the Gretchen Emery Band.
Well, oh boy, going back to the beginning. All right, so I was in a band in Delaware who had lost their guitar player because he was going back to school. And there was an ad on a wall somewhere in a store in Newark, Delaware, that I think Kenny found, or you talked to somebody in that store
I talked to
who
your drummer.
said, it was our drummer, and he invited Kenny to come audition for that band. Kenny showed up for the audition. It was at my house. We had just recently turned that house from it was still two apartments. So my husband at the time and I were living upstairs, and the downstairs was completely empty and a perfect place to hold band auditions. Kenny shows up. He plays a couple songs with us, maybe just one, I'm not sure. We were not his cup of tea. And I think we didn't even have a proper PA at that time. I was singing through an amplifier. And Kenny was packed. He's like, look, I got to go. And so I walked him out, and he stopped me outside, and he said, look, I don't want to take you away from your friends, but if you ever want to do something with a little bit more focus, let me know. And I said, okay, yeah, sure, sounds great. We never spoke again until one night some months or maybe even a year or two later, I had a child. I was making a late night grocery store diaper run. And who should I run into coming out of the grocery was Kenny. And he was putting a band together. And he said, why don't you come sing with us? And the rest is history from there. That was not the Gretchen Emery band. That was a band called Red House. And we played in Philly at Warm Daddy's, the old Warm Daddy's on Front Street.
Daddy's,
yeah, we had a standing date there for several weeks. And ultimately, we had several incarnations that were basically Kenny and I and other players finally culminating in the band that you have seen recently as the Gretchen Emery Band. We had a band called Dirty Boots that was very successful that played down at the International Blues Challenge in Memphis. We won a spot through the Blues Society of Central Pennsylvania. And so anyway, it's all been steps on the journey to here. And I know Kenny has his own version of events of how we got here.
No, that's
but
about right.
That's
I was going to
kind
say,
of
do
the
they differ,
short
Kenny?
story.
Yeah, the only time I think we differ is where that audition happened. But anyway, it was, I went in and we were playing, and it was obvious to me that they were a band that wasn't really going to hold my interest for a number of reasons, but good people and all. But she was actually kind of standing over in the corner singing through a little amplifier, and you could hardly hear her. But I remember I think I played like 2 or 3 songs. I remember listening to her, and it just piqued my interest right away. And I'm from a traditional background in Philadelphia. By that, I mean bands had front singers, okay? That was my background. That's my frame of reference. And so I asked her, she said, as I was loading my equipment, if she would be interested. And we ran into each other again. And, Gretchen was a person who really had been around music for a long time. I had lots of friends. Her husband at the time, Mike, was in a very successful band in Delaware, Days Alone. They were awesome. So Gretchen was no stranger to what it takes to be in a band, but she didn't really have any awareness of her talent. And when I heard her through that little speaker, I thought, wow, there's something there. And what I said to her that day that I don't know if she remembers is, whatever it is, you have it. And, we need to develop that. And we were fortunate to get some really good gigs. We'd play at Warm Daddy's, and I would show up with my 100-watt half stack. Everybody's trying to eat dinner. And, Ben would go, Kenny, you going to play some blues for me tonight? I said, I'm going to try. They were really great to us, that family. We really had a very successful run at Warm Daddy's. By successful, I mean, we had a lot of people come in, but we were learning more as a band. We were growing as a band. And the only thing that broke that band up was the bass player transferred to Florida with his job, and the drummer hurt his back, so we had to start over. But that's pretty much it. And Gretchen and I have worked together now for, we keep losing track, 25,
like
26, something
25
years.
years
And,
or so.
We've been through a lot of trying situations, as anybody in this business has been. We're no different. And to where we are now, I mean, I think that we have the best version of this band at this point, the most potential for growth, and for who we are and what we want to do. Meeting Derek, our producer, has been a door opener for us. He is just an amazing friend and an amazing producer. So
Yeah. It's been a game changer.
Yeah, it really
to
has.
say the least. Yep.
That's fantastic. I think I hear him approaching now, right?
I think that's him. We're going to let him in. It's $10
here.
cover there, buddy.
All hail Derek.
We're going to charge Derek to enter his own studio.
Absolutely. Music business is brutal, man.
So while Derek is getting ready to join us, why the blues? Who was the bigger blues fanatic, or were you both?
You asked us that question before, I think. I think about that a lot.
I'd have to say, background-wise, it was me. I was really deeply, deeply influenced by early Rolling Stones, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf. I mean, these people just, I say often it saved my life. I had a challenging, young life. So let's put it that way. Anyway, I loved the blues, but I also loved rock and roll, which is why I was so attracted to Keith Richards' work. He had a way of interpreting blues. And Albert King wrote a song, Take It Further. And I always took that seriously. And I got to see Albert before he passed on, and I got to meet Muddy Waters before he passed. Did you? I did. What a gentleman he was. He was so gracious. Anyway, so it was, I had, I think, much more of a consciousness. What Gretchen had was this ability to play over a standard blues progression and approach it melodically in ways that were unique to me. And I loved it, and I still do. I mean, sometimes she'll hit a note when we're writing, she'll hit a passage, I'll go, wow, that's really good. And sometimes I just throw stuff at her,
It's like spaghetti. You throw it against the wall. If it sticks, it's ready.
And I throw things back.
The redhead rules the roost.
Well, one of the things that you said, a few things, Kenny, that kind of stuck with me, like that spaghetti here. Number one was when you were talking about Gretchen in the corner singing through whatever it was, a Fender Twin.
It wasn't even that. It was one speaker.
Not even that. There you go. So, and she's singing, but you heard the potential. Now, as you recall, thanks to Sharon Leah and her Ladies of Rock, or Ladies for Rock, whatever that
Ladies
was.
Who Rock for a Cause.
Right. That's how we met.
Sandy Hall.
But as you recall, before I knew anything about you or her, I heard that voice. And Kenny, I know we're friends, but I said, I got to marry that woman now.
Yeah. That's a $10 commercial.
I had the ring, but I spent the money in gas.
I need
Being
it.
a musician.
I lost my ring.
But no, so when you said that, it automatically took me back to that. When I first heard that, I didn't see videos. I didn't see anything. I was like, who is this? Wow. And then I'm like, all right, Gretchen Emery, and thank you for YouTube. And I pulled up some stuff from some outdoor gigs you did and things, and I was like, wow. So I said to Claire, I was like, we got to get them in. And sure enough, I was so not only flattered but honored that you guys made the trip from Delaware to Hamilton, New Jersey, to do that interview with me earlier. So now you had a 4-song EP prior, or not even an EP, right? You just digitally.
It's an EP.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. Yeah, I do have. Matter of fact, you'll see that.
Oh.
So
okay.
I that's right. You had the 4-song EP, which Love Is Enough.
If Love Were Enough.
If Love Were Enough, right?
Yep.
So, and it's great. I mean, the music's great. It's fantastic. But now you're here at BarnSound Studios, or is it just BarnSound?
Yes, but BarnSound Studios is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did that EP at BarnSound Studios.
Okay, you did as well. All right.
Yes.
So I can expect more of the same fantastic sound. Right, Derek?
You sure can.
And prior to that, we'd done plenty of recording, but never gotten a product that we were really satisfied with. Called a friend.
We met
connected.
Connected
us
met
through
the
Derek.
legend Peter Humphreys. He's a friend of mine, and he said, Derek, you need to call these guys. They're friends, and they need you. And I was like, Peter, I don't call people. And so he goes, no, I mean it. Call them. So I was like, oh, and he was relentless about it. I'm like, okay. So I made this awkward phone call, like, Peter told me to call you, kind of thing. I don't know. And they called back, and we got to talk, and it was just, really easy and natural. We met. We talked about what their goals were and how they always felt like they didn't really capture what they wanted to get. And And I heard it pretty much immediately when I heard their, the music about where it needed to go, and what intrigued me about them was that they were doing this super hard thing to do, which is this place between blues and soul, and you're the one or the other generally, but these guys were doing it right down the middle, and that's really interesting. Like, wow, how can what can we do with that? Because it has a lot of stuff. It touches on like Nashville soul. And it has a little bit of Memphis in it. It has a lot of Delta blues in it. It's like it got all these elements. I thought it was like a great opportunity to show some what they really have. Great songwriting, great singing, great playing, feel, human, terrific, great vibe.
That is 1,000% not only accurate but true, and truthfully accurate, I guess is a good way to put that. Mm-hmm. And then, Gretchen, you throw the flute in there just to kind of be like another wrinkle.
Throw people off.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Yeah. So you make that awkward phone call.
Yeah.
Derek. Right?
Yeah.
What was your first impression when you heard them perform?
I didn't see them live for a while. It was all done in the studio. Like the method is to come in and we work on the songs, just the writers, and then we tighten up the material, and then we'll bring the band in to rehearse it to get ready for a recording. It's a very old school process. I like that process. You get the band and you get the songs ready first, then you get the bands, then you hit record. No reason to do it before that. You just kind of end up, wasting a lot of money and time. So very organic. We didn't have a time frame. It was just whenever it felt right, whenever the songs felt like they were together. And I think we did one first.
Yeah.
They
We
were
only
testing
gave
me
him
out.
one song. Yeah, we just
Making sure.
it was his what do you call that when you're on
right.
It's been a while
audition.
now. It's been a while.
Well,
probationary
Right,
period
exactly.
with one song. But he said, "Trust me." He said, "If you'll just trust me." And we did.
Yeah, I remember
When you go through
did.
making records with people, there's a bond that's formed. But I love these guys. It's more than that. This is,
how can you not?
Exactly.
Actually,
And they're family to me. It's such great people.
Well, this is a great space too.
Isn't
Thank
it?
you.
Derek. This
Thank you.
is
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
a very cool vibe, man.
And Gretchen was telling me on our way here, up into the studio itself, and then Ken was telling me while you were downstairs prepping for this session that you literally pretty much had to build this from under the ground up.
We did. Yeah, we had to actually. This was the studio was built in a stable, and I'd had a studio before that was in a barn, and it had 2 levels. The cutting room was upstairs, like this place is. And what I learned from that experience, which was only based on, it started as a rehearsal room and developed into a studio. But what I learned was that the artists really respond when there's no sight line between the control room and them. So the band can be in their own environment, much like they're used to rehearsing. And I can capture more authentic, vibe that way if there's no sight line between us. I'm downstairs, out of the way. They're in their own world up here. And it's kind of magic can happen that way. So it was really important the studio was designed exactly that way. A lot of people are freaked out, like there's no sight line. I mean, I have a B room where there's a glass and we can communicate, but the main cutting room there's none, and I did that for a reason. So yeah, we had to remove all the stables. We had to take everything out, break through concrete, dig down 2 feet, re-pour concrete slab. Then get the structure together and deal with all the the things that come with a studio. The soundproofing, the sculpting of the sound of the room, all that kind of stuff. It's been a process.
And some of the wood is from the other BarnSound
It is, yeah,
studio.
yeah.
Some of the wood panels.
It was important that place
that
came
he
with
brought
us.
that vibe with them, because that place had a really cool feel. And you see a picture when you take out the hard copy CD from the case. There's a picture of the barn where 95% of that EP was recorded there. We just finished up some mixing and
this is our
stuff here.
version 2 here.
My only complaint about the new studio here, the only complaint is that the old studio, up in the cutting room, when Derek would come up, there was a trap door. So Derek, you'd see the trap door open, and Derek would stick his head up and try it at 125, and go back down, and he'd come back
Kenny
up.
misses that. He misses me put my back into it. to get the
So
door.
if I ever have any money, I'm buying him a trap door for here. Put the steps in,
And that was the only way in and out of that
He
loft.
could have done that and just went Hoyman.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that vibe.
Like Grandpa Munster.
Yeah, exactly.
And the one other thing I just wanted to add is about Derek, and it is I can't emphasize enough how it's much more than our producer artist relationship. We're friends, okay? But how that started was he is the first person that actually heard our material and said, wow, there's really something there. Very often in the music community, people didn't know what to do with us. We weren't a hardcore blues band. So, I mean, we had some support from people like Gino Fontana, but he didn't even know what to do with us, So, and we still play with Gino at his store occasionally, at Country Store in St. George's. But the point being that Derek expressed a belief in us, and in Gretchen's voice and in my guitar playing. I am not a shredder guitar player, and yet he found things in my playing that he started to bring out that were, wow, this guy really said some nice things to me. I think I'm going to go back.
And
Kenny's one of those rare talents that when he plays, it's like it's very similar to what Keith Richards gets. There's something about his groove and what he doesn't play. So Kenny's first instinct is to think about the space and where he needs to play and when he doesn't. So a lot of people just are jumping in and playing, right? That's not Kenny. Kenny's like, where does it need to happen? He plays with space in between the notes. He's he's on the backside of the groove. It's this wonderful, organic, rarely heard thing for a guitar player. It knocked me out. Of course, Gretchen's voice is just amazing. So, but that was unique. You come across a lot of guitar players that have that kind of soul, that have that kind of idea of space.
Well, that's huge, especially in blues, where you have to know when not to play almost as much as you have to know when to play.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
and along those lines, now you guys are doing a new album here with Derek, and you have a tune prepped that you're going to play for us,
we do,
right?
I think.
Would you like to do that at this moment in time?
Let's do a little bit of time.
Okay, give it a run. I'm not awake yet,
Give me just 1 second. My flute got a little cold while we were talking, so let me just
Cold flute.
I'll come back after.
warm it back up again.
Right downstairs.
Ready?
I think so.
All right.
Okay, here we go. A little bit of time.
Took a little bit of time before I realized just what it was that you did to me. Took a little bit of my mind with you. And now I don't know where I go from here. You kept me up late, told me I'm great, made me feel good in all the ways I wanted to. Kiss me on my head and say, so long, baby, so long, girl. Took a little bit of my time till I found my way. Yeah. All it took bit of time till you loved me just like I wanted you to do. Took a little bit more till I understood. The only love I needed was my own, was my own. Hey, took a little bit of that time. Till I found my way. Yes, all it took was a little bit of my whole time till I found my
Fantastic. Gretchen Emery.
I know.
Thank you, Danny.
Gretchen and Ken of the Gretchen Emery Band here from BarnSound Studios of Derek Chafin. Fantastic. That's the first ever live performance of music on Chip Off the Old Rock. So
Woohoo!
you guys got the first.
All right.
Derek is popping back up from the control room. So you're going down in this recording process, the three of you, to Muscle Shoals.
Yeah.
And the rest of the band.
And
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And we're going to be recording entirely new songs down there.
All right. So that had to come about. I know every musician's dream is to record at Muscle Shoals.
Yep.
Based on its reputation. I'm assuming this is no different,
Correct.
right? So, okay, Gretchen's pointing at you, Ken.
Mr. Windle's bucket list.
There's a bucket list thing for
Okay.
me. You know, I'm at a stage in my life where it's like, okay, like what you got? You know, I got less in front of me than I got behind me, and obviously, not to dwell on that. There are some things I'd like to experience, and one was Muscle Shoals. To me, they are. I know that there are many recording studios that are legendary, but there's a magic to Muscle Shoals. It's in the water. We have friends who live there, musicians who are also excellent, Matt D'Orazio and his wife, Melissa.
The Dirty Rain Revelers, great Americana roots.
So it started out at rehearsal one day. I said, believe it or not, this is typical of me. I said, you know what, man, let's go to Muscle Shoals. And everybody peeked up and they said, I'm in. So we started piecing it together, and we booked the time and booked the house, and we asked Derek if he would come, and he said, yeah, much to my surprise, because I know he's a really busy producer. So it's, wow, you know.
You don't pass that one up.
All the stars lined up just right.
Yeah.
You don't pass
So it's just been just I want to lay down on in between the amps and stuff where Keith laid down when they were mixing Wild Horses. I just want to be like there.
Yeah.
I saw a meme one time on social media. I can't remember what it was. It was the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve are standing there, and there's in the upper right corner is a depiction of God, and he's like pointing his finger down, and all it says to them as if he's admonishing them, and all it says in the bubble above the head is, "And who is that guy?" And there's a picture of Keith Richards in the corner. Gosh. I laughed for about a good week after that, saying that. So what is the plan when you get to Muscle Shoals? Do we have a day booked, a couple hours? What?
We have a day booked.
So we have just one day booked at the studio at Fame.
Okay.
So we've got some songs that we're working on. We're going to do the pre-production, that whole process that Derek talked about. We'll do that here locally before we head down there with the band, and we'll work out all that we can before we get there.
We have no expectation.
We'll just have a good time.
It might be just for us, we don't know what it's going to end up being. It's really, it's a soulful mission, and that's what we're going to go do. And I can't imagine there won't be something kind of to share with that, from that session. But it's personal, and it's also just right. They're making that music, and they're going to go to that place, and that feels exactly right.
And just the opportunity to be able to do that, to sing in the room, where Aretha sang, or,
so many great
recorded.
people.
I mean, it's hallowed ground.
Leonard Skinner.
To be there.
They got their start there. They did their first demos there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to Muscle Shoals.
And we're going to do new songs just in case. We didn't want to do just the stuff we're working on. We thought, well, there's a lot of material. So why don't we just work on the new stuff, and we'll see what it becomes.
Exactly.
Maybe it's its own thing. Maybe it's a part of this record. Maybe it's, who knows, right? So it's more important just to kind of do it and to kind of soak it up. We're going to be prepared. The band knows what they're going to be doing. All that kind of songs are worked through and worked out. But more important just to kind of let it happen a little bit, In life, you're always kind of trying to force a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's
to make
more
it
like
happen.
a pilgrimage.
But this is kind of like let it wash over you a little bit,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge issue with a lot of musicians and people. There's either no sense of urgency, or the sense of urgency is way over the top.
Right.
Instead of enjoying the moment or living in. One of the things that kills me is wherever you go now, people aren't living in the moment because they always have their cell phone stuck in front of their face. And I don't mean texting and checking social media. Yeah. How many times you go to a concert, you go to a show? At your event at Jamie's House of Music last month, which was a fantastic show.
Thank
Gretchen.
you so
I don't know
much.
if I was telling Kenny, I don't know if you heard me, but there were people there, and they did it. They watched a good part of a lot of your set through the lens of their cell phone, and I'm like, put that thing down, man. Look at her.
Yeah.
You're so cramped, but yet you were doing the best you could to move, and so on and so forth. So to be able to go down to like Muscle Shoals and just
be in
absorb that,
Be in it, yeah.
Well, one of the things that you did prior to this that we had talked about, the If Love Were Enough, was your first EP. Mm-hmm. Last time I interviewed the two of you, we talked about that. And I've used, on this very station, I've used the excerpts from that interview.
Oh, thank you.
Where you're both talking about the meaning of If Love Were Enough.
Right.
And I always follow it up with the song. Mm-hmm. Well, we have that song again because even though it's the same station, it's a different show. Which is, you are tuned into Chip Off the Old Rock with Danny Coleman. And my guests are Gretchen Emery and Ken Windle. Is it Windle or Windell?
It's Windle.
Windle. Okay. Windle.
Everybody gets it wrong. No worries.
Windle.
I get it wrong.
I literally drew a blank. And Derek Chafin of BarnSound Studios. And that tune was, when I first heard it, I was really blown away by it. And it just furthered my my enamoration. Is that even a word?
Sure.
Enamoration?
Yeah, we'll
it
take
is
that
now.
word. Yeah, we like it.
With the band. So before we get any deeper, we're just going to play that, and we'll come back and we'll talk more about the new EP. So here's the Gretchen Emery Band with "If Love Were Enough."
Don't worry, my son, all is forgiven.
Welcome back. Yeah, we did as a great recording of If Love Were Enough. I like the look of panic on Kenny's face. We weren't supposed to play that.
So I'm used to it.
That was the easiest you ever played it live, wasn't it?
Well, that EP was also done at BarnSound.
BarnSound, yeah.
That was, if I'm sorry to
Go ahead.
interject, that song was the
was our-
tester
that was my
song
audition
for
tape.
Derek. That
Yeah.
was
Okay.
Derek's
That was it.
audition. We gave him one. We liked it. Yeah.
So that was good that we,
started the whole ball of wax.
That was good that we chose that one.
And he challenged us too. I mean, as Kenny said, Derek was the first person that we had recorded with who, found something in our music and told us how he felt. And also, we had never worked with a producer before. He is the first producer we've ever worked with. So when we showed him If Love Were Enough, he's like, that's great. Now I want you to go home and write a chorus. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, no, the chorus is right. It's that part that I was going, da-da-da-da. He's like, yeah, that's a pre-chorus.
Yeah.
So my point is he just makes us better. He brings out what's best for the song. He helps grow us as musicians and make us better. And so I did go home, obviously, because that was our audition as well, and wrote a chorus. And I'm so glad I did. It's like
It's a super hard thing to do.
It was.
It's tough to get your head around it, and then you do it, and you're like, oh, okay.
And
now
then once
I get
it's there,
Right.
it's like, oh, that was there all along. We
Right.
just had to splash some paint on it, and make it show up. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to share that about because If Love Were Enough was the song, and the picture on the CD cover was taken out at the location where the old BarnSound was.
And there were some funny stories that went
That's a
along
tree.
with that too.
Yeah.
The drummer saga. Anyway,
I think a lot of people thought, we're pushing these guys to rock or blues, and it was really important to get them and to understand what they were doing, and that requires a certain sound to accompany it. I think most people are kind of familiar with Amy Winehouse and that kind of vibe, but that's not really what they're doing. It's more akin to what Dusty Springfield was doing,
Okay.
and it had that kind of groove and texture to it. But there's not a lot to compare it to. So when people hear it, they know it's kind of that soul a little bit, but they don't know how to quite define it. But it really is just blues soul. That's what they do. It's kind of what a lot of artists, the Stones, kind of were in that territory. But you think of the Stones as rock and roll, but that's not exactly what they were doing during a certain period of time for the Stones.
yeah.
They started as a blues band.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But they got the soul as they went on. So that's what we were trying to accomplish by that song and the way it sounds.
It's a great tune. It's well done. It's well produced. And one of the things, and this is for you, Derek, because they are the artist. Mm-hmm. You are the producer. Gretchen, great. Go write a chorus.
Yeah.
Okay. My experience as a musician dealing with look, we all have egos.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of the people I know who I looked at and said, well, you really should do something different there. In my opinion, it just doesn't pop.
Yeah.
Because their egos are fragile. They take it like an insult
I
or
get
a
where
criticism.
you're going. Yeah.
So as a producer, you have
Yeah.
to deal with that all the time because you have to juggle. You have to walk that fine line between I really want to make this better, but
Right.
they're not real receptive.
Well, these guys are, they're a pleasure to work with, but they were apprehensive, as anyone should be the first time you do this. It is an odd thing to do as a writer. You think the song is done, and then you kind of workshop it again. And it's tricky because you've gotten used to that thing, so it's hard to see it as something else. But they just kind of went along with the process. They said, we're going to suspend our disbelief, and we're just going to do what you say and kind of try that out. It really, it wasn't specific. It was more like, give them the hook. What are they going to walk away singing? That kind of thing. And so they went home and they worked on this for a while, and they'd send me some notes and stuff, and I would make just a few little comments. But it was really important that I wasn't exact. They had to find it, and as soon as they did, you never look back in the process.
Right.
Because what you get out of it is that, what we're doing here is we're working. We're working on the song. We're trying to, all of us are trying to get to that place the song wants us to get to. And if you can kind of think from that end, from the backside of that, then it's easy to take things apart and say, well, let's switch out the bridge. Let's cut this, let's chop stuff, because you're working to something greater. The song really wants to be something, and it's your obligation to follow that. It's not about you, it's about the song, in other words.
Now, one of the things I'm asked to do as an entertainment journalist is often review albums.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't stand it. I'm telling you right now, I can't stand it because look at the Eagles, right? The Rolling Stone panned Hotel California.
Yeah,
right. It's nothing but, it's just like the people who listen to your music. It's just somebody's opinion. Mm-hmm. This is what I think.
Yeah.
Well, Siskel and Ebert reviewed movies forever, right? Well, what did they know?
Right.
You know what I mean? They knew what they liked. They knew what they disliked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to point out the mistakes. Mm-hmm. Well, this was this was that. Mm-hmm. But they're just opinions.
Yeah.
So trying to force essentially your opinion on somebody who treats their music like it's their child.
Yeah.
You could talk about anybody else's child, but don't you dare talk about mine.
It is delicate stuff, man.
Right.
And it really it speaks to the quality of the artist that does it. Because it means that it's not about ego. Right. They really see the song as, we often talk about them as, songs are like our children. And we want them beautiful and all dressed up, right? Mm-hmm. It's not really about us, it's about the song. And when you start looking at it that way, then you can service it in any particular way. The ego, your personal ego is checked a little bit in the process. And particularly once you've done it and you see the rewards of it and you can do it. You prove to yourself, I can do that.
Yeah, we learned so much through that process that it influenced this next batch of songs.
Absolutely.
Because you're open to it. You're not the kind. Also, you both are. You two are mature. You're not some 25-year-old.
Well, I am. I don't know
kid,
about Danny.
Right. Yeah. Well, because we're getting close to having to wrap it up.
I don't know if you can get that much soul younger.
You can't.
It comes with. It's like it's earned. It's there. It's in the music.
You need to experience stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
So you have another song off that's going to be on the upcoming album.
Off of the new album that we're doing here at BarnSound. This is called Rise Up.
Okay. The Gretchen Emery Band.
Good to go, honey?
I was walking through the fields of my brothers, through the fields of my sisters, through the fields of our souls. Oh Lord, what have we done to our brothers? What are we doing to our sisters? What will we do with ourselves? Rise up, rise up. No darkness can win this fight, so let your light shine through. Enough to rise up. Oh, I wonder, can we make a place where the branches are broken? Strange fruit cannot grow. Rise up. No darkness can win this fight, so let your light shine through. Enough to rise up.
Gretchen Emery and Ken Windle of the Gretchen Emery Band here on Chip Off the Old Rock. That's fantastic, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I am really just I'm blown away, man. That's
Aw.
just great.
Thank you.
Well, we got to wrap it up.
All
we
right,
have to
then.
wrap it up. So,
I
yes.
think we'll be in Muscle Shoals when this airs, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, this will air on the
19th?
third Sunday in May.
I think
Yes.
it's
Is
the
that
19th. We
Yeah.
will be in Muscle Shoals. We'll be playing a show that day at the Village School from 2 to 4 p.m. So come on down.
Real quick, websites and everything. How do I find you guys?
GretchenEmery.com, EMERY.
Beautiful.
And all the other social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Gretchen Emery Band.
There you
That's
go.
all you need to know.
Well, Kenny, Gretchen, thank you as
so
always,
much.
man.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
so
us,
much.
Danny.
I've only known you for 2 years now, but I love you both.
We love you.
And we love you. And
I don't think I've ever traveled this much for anybody. Actually, I've been to Delaware. Now I'm out here in the middle
And
of
Philly.
beautiful Pennsylvania. Many thanks to Derek Chafin here
Cheers.
of BarnSound Studios for allowing us to invade his space. And stick around because we have the second half of Chip Off the Old Rock with me, Danny Coleman.
If you stay with me, will you love me endlessly? Will you tell me all the things I want
you have the Gretchen Emery Band. That last song you heard was called Don't Say Goodnight. It was off their EP, If Love Were Enough. And as you heard, they have a brand new one coming out, and I cannot wait to hear that music. Gretchen and Ken are from the great state of Delaware. They are a huge supporter of mine and mine of theirs, so it was such a pleasure having them here on Chip Off the Old Rock. Stay tuned, because in this second hour, I have Christine Clark Zemla, who is instrumental in bringing Delta blues musicians from the Clarksdale, Mississippi area to New Jersey to give us a taste of real Delta blues. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more Chip Off the Old Rock.